Welcome to the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. This podcast will give independent insurance agents all of the tools to grow your business and live life on your terms. Wherever you are today, if you're starting with nothing or well on your way to the success you desire, with the right people, processes, and promotions in place, you will be unstoppable. And now I'd like to introduce your host, Mike Stromsoe.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. And I have a very special guest today. And one of the reasons, the many reasons that I have Mr. Seth Zaremba on the podcast today. Welcome, Seth.
Welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, I met Seth, uber impressed by Seth and what he's done in the industry. But bigger than that, after I met him, I had one of our members say to me, I just got off a demo with Seth Zaremba and I am in love. Now, when a member says that to me, and it just happens to be a female member, she's happily married, don't get me wrong, but she said that, and she's very high achieving, very intelligent, very techie. And she said that, I said, I've got to get to know Seth better. So that's one of the many, many reasons I have Seth here today. And as I've got to know Seth, what he is doing, I just can't even put it into words. So I'm going to let Seth's words, and we're going to do something today that we have not done before to help all of you. We're going to bring some visuals to the party. So super excited about that. And Seth has given us permission to share the work that he's done so far, and he's far from done, right, Seth?
Yeah, I won't be done for quite some time.
Right. We were talking about, we're going to keep working to help agents as long as we're gifted the ability to rise every day, right?
Amen.
Amen. Amen, brother. I agree. So we're going to get going today. I'm going to do a quick screen share. And by the way, if you have not gone to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube, then search Unstoppable Profit Producer. Just click on videos. It's all there. And you will be, if you're listening to this right now, when you get out of wherever you're at, go to that portal and you can see the visuals that we're going to share with you right now. So it's a unique opportunity to learn a ton about the amazing work this man is doing in our industry. Super thankful and grateful for you being here today, Seth.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, here we go. We are going to get going this morning. We're going to do a quick screen share. And I'm going to start from the very beginning. And let me just double check that to make sure we got it right. I am as human as the rest of us. We are good to go. So Be Atomic is your company.
Yes.
How did this start, Seth? What was the beginning?
Yeah, independent insurance agent and just frustrated with the lack of connectivity. And I think it impressed on me how independent agents have to solve this. Anytime something went wrong, carriers could always, they can always raise or adjust rates to compensate for the marketplace and what's happening. Customers, as every independent agent knows, can always go find cheaper and better coverage somewhere else, right? And what really dawned on me after operating an insurance agency for over 15 years is that we're stuck in the middle. All of the inefficiency can be accounted for by the carrier or the customer, and we have to pay for it in our daily operations. And so I began to think about how we are uniquely positioned and responsible for solving some of the inefficiencies that affect us uniquely in the channel.
100%. And we talk about this a lot in the UPP circles. It is our business.
Yes.
And we have to be responsible for that. We have to own it. But that's the privilege of being an entrepreneur. So let's help some entrepreneurs get better. Any other comments on this visual?
Well, I would just say that the one thing I've learned along the way is that independence, it has many advantages. It's the storefront that we all can create. It's the word to the public, the meaningful mission that drives our organizations. But because we're all independent, we're doing everything our own way. And so if you take 35,000 independent agents, and if they do everything their own way, it's just chaos. And so what I began to see inside of our agency and now inside of a bunch of agencies is we all do the same 30 things.
Right.
Stay independent on your mission, your vision, and your values. But let's take those common things we do, create some basic standards, and use that to create efficiency. And that's something that that I'm really focused on. So I would say that, this slide really talks about the unique costs that we bear for inefficiency because we're choosing to be independent in everything. And I don't think that's the right thing anymore.
Including our day-to-day operations, and we're leading our teams to be the same way.
Yeah.
Because from a leadership standpoint, monkey see, monkey do, or leadership by example, if you will.
Yeah.
100%. Fantastic. So the great thing is I 100% agree, and I've found myself saying this a lot lately, less with excellence. Less is more.
Yeah. And as agencies scale, we should actually have smaller headcount. And so I created the Neon platform, which first off, it says, hey, we will identify those inefficiencies. We have a unique way of doing that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. 2, then will allow you to standardize those transactions. And then 3, we'll take those, show you the cost on those transactions and show you how to lower your cost per transaction. And so our platform shows you data that you can't see anywhere else. It gives you the opportunity to make and control performance. And then ultimately where we're going now is lowering your cost per transaction. Just an interesting side point, Mike. My agency does 15,761 things a year. Each of those things has a cost. And now that I know those costs, I know where to direct my arrows, right? I know where to direct my energies and efforts. And as we understand our cost per transaction, we can now really begin to get efficient.
I noticed that about you when I met you earlier last year. You were spot on with your numbers. And, as we talk about in our circles, numbers do not lie.
Do not lie.
Whether we believe we can change things or not, they do not lie. And so you've got your finger on the pulse of that. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And I love it. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
30 items, 30 transaction types. That's it. And
your producers really only do 5 things, and
right.
your service people only do about 25 things. And there's only about 5 tasks going on in an agency that come from those things that are killing us. And so it is not a universe of things you need to learn about. There's a very finite number. Our platform quantifies them and codifies them and allows you to understand them and now use them to lower your cost per transaction. It's insane.
Yeah. Exactly. We're overthinking it sometimes, right?
It is.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's jump into this. Talk about what we're seeing here on this visual. And for those of you who are just listening right now, we're talking about data.
Yeah.
We're talking about the data, which is your business. Seth?
Yeah, so I show you this insight, but for anybody, your system should be providing you as an agency owner or principal or management team the information you need to understand. So I mentioned the first part of Neon is show me your data, right? Let's look at your data. So we have a unique opportunity to import your data in, and now we can first benchmark you against all data happening with all Neon agents. So a really cool way to see a perspective of the industry. In this particular slide, it's Hawksoft users saying, hey, show me how I compare to other Hawksoft users. So now we're benchmarking our agency and we're learning from each other's energy and efforts. And so while no agent can see each other's data, we learn from each other. And then finally, we show you a view of your agency uniquely that allows you to see very clearly what's happening in your agency and begin to identify inefficiencies that you can begin to tackle as an agency owner. And it could be related to line of business. It could be related to carrier. It could be related to premium. I mean, there's so much that you can look at that can guide you and teach you as an agency principal on how to run better.
Yeah. And in the visual, we're talking about lines of business by premium, by lines of business. In this particular example, Hawksoft carrier volume. By the way, what atmosphere does this come from? Is this a national data set?
Yeah, so we have Hawksoft agents from all across the country are importing their data. And now we can visualize their agency. We can benchmark them against fellow Hawksofts, and we can benchmark them against all Neon agents because not all Neon agents run on Hawksoft.
Right. Fantastic. So this is a pure example of what's out there and what the opportunities are for agencies to not only grow, but to better retain the business they've worked so hard to earn, right?
Yeah, and perfect example. Like maybe you're thinking about what carrier do I need? Well, let's go to the data set. What are other Hawksoft agents or agents like me? Which carriers are they hitting with? How much data is in the warehouse? Can I use it to make decisions? Now, instead of just kind of hunting and pecking for the next carrier, why not make that a data-driven decision and know that the carrier coming in can really solve a problem?
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in front of us. And one of the things that so excited me, and I'm sure we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes, when I first learned about Neon, was the fact that it pinpoints the opportunities by geographical area.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll geolocate all of your data so you can really begin to see where you're hot, where you're not, by
Right.
carrier, by line of business, you name it.
Yeah, even if, because one of my common questions is if somebody's in the state of Texas, California, Florida, whatever, where does your insurance license encompass? What are the geographical lines? Well, it's the entire state. And there's multiple people out there that have multiple state licenses. So they sometimes in their mindset get limited by, oh, I'm in a local area. No.
No,
Spread
and
your
that's
wings.
yeah, the smart kids are thinking about personas. What customers am I hitting with? Who cares where they live, Mike? If,
Right.
if we have identified a customer persona that we have a unique or valuable solution for, who cares where they live? Data can take us into places that we might not otherwise think about. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So anything else on this visual before I move on?
No, so if you have that, then you can do really unique things with the data too. Because if you know who's working and what they're working on and now how long it takes, the next slide kind of illustrates where we're at. You could know your costs per transaction. And there is a billion-dollar automation industry that will be built on this principle. And agents, you cannot be a little leaguer trying to catch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball going into this environment. So here what you're seeing is that every process, those processes we talked about, those 25 or 30 things?
Yes.
Well, here's an example of some service processes. And each person, based on each task, has a variable cost. And what's shocking is that on some highly repeatable, low margin requests that customers ask of us, there can be to $6 to $7 profit margin. For instance, in my agency, if one person does a certificate, it costs $9.67. If that person sends it to their assistant, it goes to $6.59, almost $3 just on who processes it. And if we get it to one of our VAs, it goes down to $3.06. And so literally a $6 margin on a very common request. And agents aren't thinking about it. They're thinking, hey, I just hired someone to take care of it. And as long as it's being taken care of, I don't care. We don't live in that world anymore. The margin exists in what we do, and we have to extract it as agency principles.
Let me repeat that. The margin exists in what we do. And again, Seth just dropped some gold, which I identified when I met him. He's got this thing down to the penny. And numbers don't lie. So that is fantastic. So we're creating and standardizing transactions that creates a $1 billion automation workplace. And he's got a range of the cost per transactions on this particular visual.
What we're talking about here is add remove coverage, add remove items,
right.
Document requests, cancellation, the things that are people doing. These transactions take time. Time is money in process. If we can figure out how to reduce time in transaction, reduce number of manual tasks associated, we can now put margin inside of an agency that has always been there. We've just never been able to draw it out of the ground. We can now.
That is fantastic. I am so enamored with everything you're doing. And for everybody who might be listening to this only, again, when you get in front of a computer, go to YouTube.
Yes.
Go to Unstoppable Profit Producer and just click on the videos. This podcast will be right there, and you can see the visuals that we're talking about. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Seth, anything else on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for anyone listening, once you do that, you can't unsee what you're looking at here, because now for the first time, you're looking at a granular level of where all the money's going and which process is taking it, not who did we hire. And so you can't unsee, you can't unknow transactions once you come across it. So yeah, go to the YouTube for sure.
Yeah, and I was looking at one of our industry partners that you and I both know, and I was listening to something he was saying yesterday. He was talking about the revenue opportunity in a renewal. It's a way of thinking about things. It's a way of looking at things. And this is the same context.
Yep.
It's a way of thinking about your business. Because I don't know about you, Seth, I've never seen a business go out of business that had too much profit. You?
No. No, and I contend that there is another 20% margin sitting inside of our agencies. I know it because I'm pulling it out now. So it's there. We just don't know how to get it. We can do better. So
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And one of the things that we lovingly share with people, this is your acre of diamonds, right? If you're looking at the visual, this is a diamond which is inside of your business. It's really just up to us to figure out how to pull it out. And this is what you help people with.
yes. Yeah.
Simply, easily help them get it out of their business. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next slide, if you click forward, as we talk about it, that means that there's not only a cost per transaction inside of your agency, but there's actually a cost per transaction inside of our industry. And so here's the scale moment. Now we're independent on our mission, vision, and values. We're teaching and learning clients and our people about why we exist and the noble mission. But if we scale and standardize, we can now establish an average cost per transaction that now we can use to the industry and say, hey, if you're a carrier or if you're a insurtech partner, don't sell me a shiny object. Here is my cost per transaction. You come in and change it, and I will validate the value you bring. Now we forever say goodbye to the shiny object syndrome, and now we use industry data to say, hey, listen, this is my cost per transaction. Rather than me subscribe to a monthly service with you, how about we look at how many times it happens inside my agency, 800 times a month, what my costs are, and how your solution will uniquely enable me as an independent agent to get better margin and provide better customer experience. That's the conversation we have to be having. We're better than the way we're acting right now.
Wow. I hope you caught that one. And if you didn't, please rewind this, get something to write with and something to write on, because it's all about letting the data drive your business to the customer experience.
Yeah. And I see the day when we no longer spend $100 a month or $200 a month for technology. We say to the technology provider, hey, that happens 400 times a month inside my agency. It costs me this. You reduced it much. So that margin that we've created, my fee to you is a piece of that, and the rest goes in my pocket so I can invest in my organization and make more transactions. And so I see a complete new economy being built around transactions. One, because we're smarter and better, but two, it drives the meaningful R&D partners in our industry to us in the right way for us as independent agents.
The economy built around data.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. So anything else on this one, sir?
No. So if you look at the next slide.
Yeah, real quick, just for my simple mind, what is CPT? Cost per transaction, right?
Cost per transaction. That's me.
Yep.
I think about I just think like CPT is the new thing. It's like that's the new black. And I just think like if you don't know your CPT, then you don't know if you're doing it right. And we have to know that.
Yeah, and so we live kind of in an acronym world in a lot of ways. So your CPT, and it's right there on the screen, but I was looking at all the visual colors, which are so awesome. So going into another place, but let's talk about quoting renewals, quoting a book roll, claims new, and that's Neon brings all of this data to the forefront. It's right there at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So we as business owners and leaders, all we need to do is simply make decisions, right?
Yep. Yeah. And that's what we should be doing. We should be less time renewing policies, more time empowering our people to be efficient and productive for our people, and us as agency principals driving the business, driving margin, and driving the future of our agencies. But yeah, we got to do it together.
The consummate working on your business, not in it. That's how businesses grow. Go ahead.
Agents ask me all the time what I learned from data, and I learned from data to stop selling policies in 2019, and my agency grew. And I learned to really break down what's happening in my business and not use what was taught to me as the way I would establish my future. And we grew. And so the learning that can happen at a leadership level will push down meaningful changes in the organization, and our customers will feel it.
Couple of things that Seth just said, and I saw a forum yesterday where there was a lot of younger up and coming agents who were working in the business and doing it. And they hadn't figured that out yet. Seth just said he stopped selling policies and started focusing on the data and working on his business, and he grew. And if you listen to everybody else and do the same thing that everybody else is doing, you're going to get the same thing that they're getting. So we've got to be in the mindset and change things for the better. The same old thinking will get you the same old results. We got to change the way we think and the way we look at things. And that's just one of the many, many things you're bringing to the table. Yeah. Man, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. So let's talk about the one product map that you put in front of us. And again, if you're listening, please go to YouTube, Unstoppable Profit Producer. Just go to the videos and you'll see all this. But Seth, describe what's going on here, because at the center of this entire universe, and the super complicated business plan for independent insurance agents in any business, right?
Yep.
It's not complicated. I'm being facetious. Get clients, keep clients. Sales and service transactions built around Neon. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is I would tell agents that the way we were taught to run our agency, no, it doesn't apply like it did 20 years ago. And so I'm guilty. I came in the business in 2000, and the first thing people said was, go do this, just start selling policies, service those policies, and then get an agency management system. Absolutely critical. Any agency that wants to create efficiency and scale needs an agency management system. It handles all your download. It handles all your policy, your accounting, your billing, critical services that you need to develop. However, we don't manage policies. We manage relationships, people, the people in our agency, the customers that we work with, and the valuable carrier relationships that drive product to our shelves, right? And so yes, what Neon says is, hey, there's a data model that reflects more accurately what you do, and it's people and contact, not policies. You still need policy management. You got to have it. But what you do where you make and lose money is in relationship. And so what do we do in relationships? We sell stuff and we service stuff. And is it an infinite number of things we do? No, we do 5 sales: commercial, personal, life, health, right? And we do about 20, 25 different service requests, right? And so we've taken all those things, standardized it so that there's efficiency now for the first time. So instead of you training your people to go into 15 technologies and losing all that data, you can see in the top left corner, let's bring all of that data to the transaction your people are in. We just said how valuable transactions are for managing our agency. Now let's bring policy information from an AMS in. Let's bring a rating API in from a carrier or from an insurtech partner. Bring it to your people as opposed to paying your people to go to it. Because when you go to it, you lose margin. When it comes to your people, you gain margin and control and experience. So first off, let's figure out how to bring the industry to your people. When you work in standardized transactions, you make data. And we just talked about the value of data. 1, you can see your agency. 2, you can benchmark against your peers. And 3, we actually anonymize and sell that data to carriers and insurtech, saying, hey, if you want to see inside of agencies what's happening, how many times, and what the costs are, buy data from agents. We'll make the data for you. You buy it from us. And when you buy it, we will actually pay the agent. So now we have new revenue. Your data is being sold to our partners so that they can make better solutions for us. When they subscribe to data that you make, we will return a portion of that sale to you. So now you have new revenue and motivation and incentive to make better data for the people who are creating solutions that will make your wheel better. It's the perfect circle of partnership that Independence Channel talks about, but hasn't yet achieved.
But Seth, I want to confirm the aha that I just had, or if you will, this is a gold nugget, and you're just dropping gold nugget after gold nugget after gold nugget. Neon gives the ability, when installed in compatibility with all the other technology going on in an agency business, the data that you were just speaking of is now at their fingertips. Is that accurate?
Yes.
I hope you heard that clear, so I'm going to repeat it. All of the data that Seth was just talking about and the ability to grow and to scale, to be clear on your CPT, cost per transaction, and everything else is at your fingertips with Neon. That is amazing.
And get this, my agency is making data every day, and you get to use it. And your agency is making data every day and I get to use it. Now we can't see each other. And when we show carriers and insurtech, they can't see our individual, but in the mass, it becomes a product that everybody wins from. And when carriers and insurtech subscribe to agent-made data, not only do we get new revenue, but now we get solutions that are built off our real needs. It's got to be our future.
We are literally sharing the wealth.
Literally, there is new revenue, a margin inside of your agency. It's sitting there. You just haven't figured out how to get it out, and we can help you. The third thing we do is we create scale by doing that. When we adopt standards, just like Uber and Lyft adopted standards, I'm at an airport, I need to get somewhere, great. Uber and Lyft will take all the complexity and will develop a standardized process that delivers you from point A to point B at a low cost. Now that we have these standards, we can go out and get large solutions that small to medium-sized independent agents could never get. And so just as an example, we're in talks with one data carrier. Their minimum contract's 100 Gs. Can your agency or my agency afford 100 G data? No. But Neon can say, hey, inside of our collective warehouse, it's happening millions of times a year. Why don't every time a CSR or a producer in Shoeville, Ohio does something, why don't we deliver that data to them and lower their cost or improve their cost per transaction on it? So now, as independent agents, we're independent on our mission, vision, and values, but we're scaling resources that we would never otherwise be able to get.
So your friend and mine, Carrie Wallace, recently dropped on the podcast, and it came to my mind as I was listening to you, an agency that is predictable is much more valuable.
Yes.
And this brings the ultimate predictability to within the platform in an agency.
I know from which I speak of, you can increase the value of your agency in 12 months running in this way. You can increase the value of your agency by 20%. I guarantee it. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Great job, Seth. Thank you for bringing this platform and everything around it to independent agents everywhere.
Well, I'm eating my own dog food. I built this inside of my agency. We ran on it. Agents and carriers started flying in and saying, we want to run that way. Agents threw in the first $1.5 million into the Atomic to build it and run it. And now we're scaling it together, and we're creating an ecosystem where we can stay independent on Main Street to our customers and our people, but we can scale all the inefficiency behind and give ourselves an automation and margin advantage that we will otherwise not capture if we just stay indie.
So question for you, just out of left field here. How many agents are putting data into the system right now, roughly?
In the last 60 days, we've had 70 agencies come in, and we went in just Hawksoft agents over 130 million in the last 45 days. And so right now we're somewhere around 100 agencies, and we're open for business. So come and talk to us. We have to get the data. So we're working agency management system by agency management system, but please get in our pipeline, talk. I'll do a personal demo with anybody who wants to talk about it. And we're doing it for literally the cost of doing business. And so while you'll see some people out there saying that, you should spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on a data, we're doing it for less than $100 a month. So it's like the margin that can be made out of organizing and visualizing your data is just insane.
But just so everybody knows out there, if you're willing to participate and help not only others, help yourself at the same time, it's completely private, right? I mean, they're protected.
Oh, yeah.
The data's protected.
Nobody can see your stuff but you. What we do at Neon is we anonymize and aggregate it together, and we don't do any PII. No data bursts, no socials. We don't want any of that stuff. Who cares? What we want to see is, how do we make money off the machine of independent agencies, and how could our data help us run more efficient? We don't care what your date of birth is. I don't care where your address is, unless it can help us understand a behavior that we need to know. So no PII, can't see each other's data, but independent scaling it together makes a pretty valuable asset.
In other words, quit listening to the rest of the world and just take action from those who know best.
You know what? And I've been to an event where you were speaking, and I can honestly say from that event that all the smart kids in that class have brought their data in. And so it's just the smart kids are starting to think about this stuff and act on it. And if you're not, increasingly, you're going to be left on the outside, going into forums where agents are fighting about this, that, or the other thing, wanting to be right. Why not just put the data in and find out what's right or wrong?
Let it go. We're only here
Yeah.
for a short time. Let's make the best of it.
Amen, brother.
All right. Hey, anything else on this visual?
No, I think this is a good overview of what we're doing and why it matters.
100%. And so again, if you're just listening, when you get in front of a computer, go to YouTube, go to Unstoppable Profit Producer, click on the videos, and you will see the visual. Rewatch this, study this slide. I mean, study all the slides that Seth so generously agreed to share with us today about Neon and what he's built to help independent insurance agents thrive in today's data-driven world. So Seth, if the first time I learned about all of this, I was like chomping at the bit, and I was like that agent. By the way, just for clarity purposes, that agent who said, I'm in love, not with Seth, but with Neon. Yes. Yeah. Seth's a happily married man with 3 awesome kids. So all's good. But so Seth, anybody, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say if you want to know more about what we're doing, just shoot me a note, Seth@beatomic.com. You can go to the website and fill out a form, but just shoot me a note, Seth@beatomic.com. I'd be happy to hop on with you, show you what we're doing, how it can impact you, and just learn more about your agency. Yeah.
So that's SETH at B, the letter B like boy, atomic, ATOMIC.com, Seth@beatomic.com. Just reach out to him. He's very responsive. He's an awesome guy. In getting to know Seth, I continue to admire him more the more I get to know the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Seth Zaremba. And thank you again for what you're doing for the industry. The sky is the limit in the future. And we're only, like we said, we're only here for a short time. So let's make a massive impact. Let's leave a mark on the world that cannot be erased.
Thank you too for what you're doing. Data is great. But change management, thought change management, action change management it takes coaching, it takes training, it takes learning, and the work that you're doing, I just feel like it's chocolate and peanut butter. I think data with good training and coaching like you're doing, I just feel like it's the Reese's cup that we were all waiting for, that we never knew we wanted, but now we can't live without.
Seth, I was at the doctor yesterday and he said I have to limit my chocolate and peanut butter intake. I said, dude, why are you doing that to me?
Okay, I'll find another analogy.
See, that's the shiny object syndrome that we're all subject to. It takes us into another place.
Fair.
So that's why numbers don't lie and data doesn't lie. So again, there's the opportunity, everybody. Seth generously put out his information. If you want to learn more about Neon and what he's doing, I strongly recommend jump on a session with Seth. He'll, no cost, no obligation, share with you everything he's doing. He'll answer any questions you've got. Incredible opportunity. I can't wait to continue to grow and learn with Seth as well. So thank you, sir. Anything as we wrap it up today?
No, just I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the audience and with the audience. And as a fellow agent, I have nothing but respect for what independent agents do. And so I just think there's a better way to do it. And we could do more together than we're doing on our own. So let's do it.
Yeah. So in front of you, you got 50 years of experience minimum in the industry. So we just want to continue to give back and pour back into you to help you grow, learn, and prosper. So there you go. Seth, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Hey, if this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. My name is Mike Stromsoe. I'm widely recognized as a leading author, speaker, and coach for the independent insurance agency industry. You can learn more about myself and what we do at unstoppableprofitproducer.com. If you're interested in learning more about our virtual or live events, our virtual event portal is uppfaststart.com, and our live event portal is beunstoppablebootcamp.com. Both events are designed to share with you our best money-making strategies, designed and developed over 35 years in business as a proud independent insurance agent 100% of the time. Again, all designed to help you grow your business, create wealth, so you too can have more freedom to live life on your own terms. And we strongly recommend, if you haven't yet, go to unstoppableprofitpodcast.com, go up to the top, click subscribe, so you will not miss one episode of this extremely valuable information to help you grow, create wealth, and have more freedom. And we're out there on all the channels, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, our YouTube channel, and more. And if you got great value out of this podcast, please share with anybody you know, unstoppableprofitpodcast.com, so they can continue to grow and win. And we just talked about that on the podcast as well. We are just sharing the wealth literally with everybody else. And that's where the wins are. The law of reciprocity is always in effect. So please share it. Thank you again, Seth Zaremba from Be Atomic, for being on the podcast. Part of Be Atomic is Neon. And I just continue to learn and grow and admire so much what you're doing. So thank you again, sir. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Take care.
All right. Remember, everybody, make a difference, be unstoppable, leave no regrets. And remember, you got this. We believe in you. I will see you on the next episode.
You love the podcast, but don't know where or how to get started? Come join our next virtual training while seats are still available. Register now at uppfaststart.com. That's uppfaststart.com.